والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. وقل رب زدني علما. قال الإمام النووي رحمه الله تبارك وتعالى ونفعنا بعلومه في الدارين. قال وعن أنس رضي الله عنه قال كان أبو طلحة رضي الله عنه أكثر الأنصار بالمدينة مالا من نخل، وكان أحب أمواله إليه بيرحاء، وكانت مستقبلة المسجد، وكان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يدخلها ويشرب من ماء فيها طيب. قال أنس فلما نزلت هذه الآية لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون، جاء أبو طلحة إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا رسول الله إن الله تعالى أنزل عليك لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون، وإن حب مالي إلي بيرحاء، وإنها صدقة لله تعالى، أرجو برها وذكرها عند الله تعالى، فضعها يا رسول الله حيث أراك الله. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بخل، ذلك مال رابح، ذلك مال رابح، لقد سمعت ما قلت وإني أرى أن تجعلها في الأقربين. فقال أبو طلحة أفضل يا رسول الله، فقسم أبو طلحة في أقاربه وبني عمه. متفق عليه. Amazing riwayat. So in this chapter, again, spending that which you love, in other words, spending the best of what you have, that which you love yourself. So you're not only spending in the path of which you're also sacrificing what you would otherwise want to keep for yourself. So in this hadith of Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that Abu Talha al-Ansari radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was in possession of more date palms than anybody else of all the Ansar. In other words, he had the biggest date garden of all the Ansar of Medina. And among all of that, all of his gardens and his property, the one that he loved the most was a property which was known as Bayraha, and it was a very sumptuous garden, and it had beautiful water. And in fact, Rasulullah used to like to go into that garden, and he used to enjoy drinking of the sweet water that was in that garden. So Anas radiallahu anhu says that when this ayat was revealed, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, that you will not attain towards piety until you spend of that which you love. So Abu Talha went directly to Rasulullah and said, Ya Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent this ayat telling us that you will not attain to piety until you spend what you love, and that, that property which is most beloved to me is Bayraha. And so I have given it in sadaqah, in charity to Allah Ta'ala, and I hope from it birraha wa dhukraha, and I'm hoping that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will recompense me and reward me for that good deed, and it will keep it as a sort of deposit for me. It will be a treasure waiting for me, inshallah, in the hereafter. That was the yaqeen that they had. They understood that their property that they spent in the path of Allah, that was actually their property. They have deposited in the account that will be spent upon them eternally. Otherwise, what we leave behind in our bank accounts for the inheritors, that's really not ours. We're just custodians. So he's handed over this garden to Rasulullah and said, okay, do with it as you like. So Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, I have heard what you've said. And he said, Bakhin, bakhin. Oh, wonderful. That's really great. And Malun Rabi, he said, this is a very profitable commodities. In other words, you have earned a lot of profit in this transaction. And he says, I've heard what you've said, and I think that the best way to spend this is not only in charity, but spend it in charity on your relatives. And that's a very important principle. When we're going to spend charity, first of all, see your relatives. As we said before, first yourself, your family, and then see your relatives, particularly those poor, needy relatives, so you get the benefit of spending charity, and also silat al-rahim, which is also a independent reward, so you're actually getting 2 rewards in one. So Abu Talha radiallahu ta'ala said, I will do that, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And so he divided it up among his relatives and among the progeny of his uncles. So this is the example of how the Sahaba used to read the Quran. Not like us simply, get through the chapter, get through the para, make the khatam, make the dua, or what have you, But they would read and ponder over it and look at the opportunities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would invite, his slaves to engage in. And so they would see these ayats and they would act upon them immediately. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us also that tawfiq to read the Quran and understand it like that. And, to disconnect our greed and our, and ourselves with our property and our valuables, and send them ahead and give us that yaqeen that we will also send it ahead into the bank account of the hereafter. Ameen thumma ameen wa akhir da'wan alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa assalamu alaikum.